Welcome back to another episode of After the License, the podcast where we help new real estate agents build their business. I'm excited we have another guest interview type episode today. Someone I've been following for a little bit here, Shawn Bell. Welcome, Shawn.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course, appreciate you jumping on. I think you have a lot of insights for a lot of new agents that follow up, but then a lot of folks who are thinking about technology and social media as a way to grow their business. So before we get started, let me give the folks your intro here. So you're the owner / realtor of a Century 21 in Lloydminster, and I hope I say that correctly. And from my research,
Yeah.
that's perfect. That's on the border of Alberta and Saskatchewan. Did I say that correctly?
You did.
Awesome. You're ranked top 1% for Century 21 in Canada for the last several years. Consider yourself a Facebook ads expert. And then just from what I've seen of you, kind of a believer and advocate of the power of technology and social media. Did I get all that correct?
You betcha. Yeah.
I love it. Awesome. Maybe let's back up and talk about how you got into real estate, how long you've been selling real estate, and let's just start there.
Oh, I've been in the real estate game now for 16 and a half years. So this summer will be 17 years. And I started off, I was a computer tech. So I was, troubleshooting computers, software problems. I was taking apart computers, rebuilding them. I did that for about a year. I thought I was going to be a computer tech. Once I got into doing it, I did not like it as much as I thought I would. So I'm sure that's happened to a lot of people. I had family in the business and real estate, and I thought, yeah, it looks kind of cool. I think I might try it out. And so I worked as an assistant for a summer, and then did my computer thing the next year, found out that wasn't for me, and then decided, hey, maybe I'll go back into real estate, got my license. And now here we are. Fast forward, it seems like time has flown by, which to me is a good sign. Anytime that the time flies by tells me I'm right where I need to be.
I love that. Yeah, you and I, seems like we have similar paths, right? Kind of technology first. That was kind of always my interest and passion. And then you end up in kind of this other career, but you've obviously you've been able to utilize kind of what you learned and some of your skill sets from the technology side of things and been able to incorporate it into real estate. So I think that's fantastic. So you've been doing it for about 16, 17 years, it sounds like. Your business currently, I think for a lot of new agents, they come in and they don't understand kind of what the business looks like. They're looking for lead generation. They're looking for marketing sources. But for someone like you who's been in the business for as long as you have, where does your business come from these days? Is it mostly your database, your sphere of influence, or are you doing a lot of lead gen and spending a lot of money on marketing?
Most of my stuff, does come from my sphere of influence, just from being in the business for so long. But there is quite a bit that does come from social media as well. I see a great opportunity with social media, especially in my community. We're a smaller community and not a ton of people are, in my opinion, doing a great job of social media. So to me, there's a tremendous opportunity, which is why we jumped on it. So it's just kind of more about filling the funnel. And when I've got all those past clients, and they're great customers, but when we can put social media on top of that, it's kind of like adding fuel to the fire. And now you're getting more people. And when the sphere wants to refer somebody, they're going, well, I've already seen him. I've seen him online through social media. So they already kind of get to know me. They know me better than I know them. I have no idea who they are, and they know pretty much my life story, which is the great thing about social media. So I find like-mindedness attracts. So when there's somebody out there that maybe has similarities to me, all of a sudden they're contacting me because they're like, hey, whether that be he has 2 boys, or he likes to golf, or he really enjoys food, he likes to travel. Those are things that interest us. And because of that, we want to use him as our realtor. So obviously those are the best leads that you can have. Now that does take time. There's not any magic thing with social media like, hey, if I just post this one thing, I'm going to get 10 customers coming in the door. It's all a matter about building your brand, being consistent with it, and doing it over time. And eventually, if you do that, you'll start to see the fruits of your labor come through, and those customers come through the door. For anybody that does want immediate leads, you do have that option with Facebook ads, which I do run a course on. Now, I'm generally, because I'm an owner here, I'm generating those leads for realtors within our office.
Yep.
So I'm not keeping any of them for myself, but it's still a great way because basically it's running a list of homes that people are interested in. They click on it, they put in their name, their number, and their email to get that list. And once it generates that for them, we get their name, their number, they get the list, and then we can contact them saying, hey, if you ever are interested or you need more information, then from there, it's all part of the lead game where it does take time. But again, if it were me as a new real estate agent, something I would heavily invest in because it's a great way to start getting contacts immediately, while also doing the regular organic stuff on the side, so that 2-3 years down the road, you've got a good brand built, that you got people coming through to you.
That's fantastic. Great insight there. And I your point out, start doing some social media stuff, start to build brand awareness with people you're already connected with. And we can talk more about your database and your sphere of influence, but then also the other piece is try and generate some new leads so you have some people you can start to contact and start to build that momentum in their real estate business. If someone's brand new in real estate, and you might hear my puppy in the background, sorry about that. If someone's brand new to real estate, are those kind of the two things you tell them to focus on, is building brand awareness on social media and doing some type of online lead gen, or is there another piece to it? Or can you talk about that a little bit?
It all depends on the person. I mean, it depends what you're comfortable with. I usually advocate to do what you are comfortable with, because there's not, again, one magic thing that's going to work for everybody. There is some realtors that make a tremendous amount of business through door knocking and cold calling. That was never my style. That was something I did not enjoy, and I just never did go down that path. And I've never door knocked or cold called in my life. So for somebody that may be the route. For me, it just was not. And that's why now I'm definitely going the social media route. If I was starting brand new today for the way that I like to do my business, I would 100% just be doing social media. I would be, like the Gary V model, I would be the digital mayor of my community, and I would be blasting out information. And as a new realtor, I have time to do that, because we've all been in that spot where you've got time now. What do I do? How do I fill my day? What can I do? Generally, it's you got to think most the traditional ways, you got to pick up the phone and start talking to people. Well, that may work. Again, just was not my style. So I would be creating as much content as I can around my community, putting it out on as many avenues as I can, learning whatever social media platforms I'm comfortable with. I don't want to do too much at once, because sometimes the balls can get dropped if you do too much. But focus on one social media platform if you need to, and just become an expert at it and blast good information out on it. Once you get comfortable with that one, add on to the next one and keep going, and just keep doing that every day. Off the start, it's going to seem like a struggle. It's going to seem like this isn't working, but I can tell you it will work. There is, I'm guessing probably 90% of the realtors out there will not do this if you do it. They do it for maybe a month, and then they go, this didn't work. They give up and they just stop. Whereas the ones that continue to do it and just see that end goal and know down the road, this is what I'm working towards, it will work. And it's all about just being consistent, keep putting out the content, and eventually that does grow. Whereas when you try to do a post here and then you wait 2 weeks and you do another one, try to have a plan, build out. I mean, for us this year, we're going to be doing a lot more social media. We built a calendar for the entire year. So saying, this is what we're going to do this month. Here's our topic, and then broke it down per day. This is what we need to do every day. So from there, we know how much content we need, and there's going to be that consistency behind it.
That's fantastic. Is there a platform you direct people to? Like, you talk about kind of pick a platform, and is it Instagram for you, or is it YouTube? And it maybe just depends on what that person's personality is, but is there one that you found that agents tend to gravitate towards?
For sure. That's, it is kind of whatever they're most comfortable with. And it, again, depends on their goal, how much time and effort they want to put into it. I mean, And again, I find it can depend on the community. For my community, I find it's still a Facebook community. Lots of
Yep.
people, everyone's on Facebook. Whereas if I go to the next city, it might be Instagram. So you can kind of do your research there to figure that out. Nice thing is Facebook and Instagram are kind of connected because Facebook does own Instagram. You want to do your posts a little differently between the two because you are still speaking to two separate audiences, but you can have post your story on one and it goes to the other. You can have things like that that do make it easier. For myself, where I'm teaching other realtors how to do some of the stuff that I run a YouTube page. And so that works great because it's a good way for other realtors to be able to find me. And the reason I
Yep.
love YouTube is it is the second largest search engine in the world, and it is owned by the first. Therefore, if anybody's going on Google searching anything, they're likely going to find my video. I mean, that may be a way you found one of my videos. Who knows?
Yep.
But YouTube lives on there all the time. It's 24/7. It's a great way to be found. That one does take more time, though. Again, as a new realtor, it might be an avenue I'd go down because I do have the time. I post a video every single week, all the time, without
Yep.
fail. I mean, there's been the odd, I think it was over Christmas, I did not, just because it was Christmas time. But otherwise, every single Wednesday, you'll see a video from me, and YouTube notices that, and it notices that I keep putting out content. And from there, it wants to start pushing it out to more people. And eventually, you start to grow and multiply as time goes on.
Yeah.
Again, there's so much you can do. You've got things like TikTok now, which is a great place to get found and reach. I have not figured out or cracked TikTok yet, but it is a fun place if somebody wanted to kind of be an expert at it and just hone in on it. Might be another great way to be found in your community. Anytime I put out a piece of social media, I always think to myself, this is basically like me cloning myself. So
I was going to mention that.
A realtor always says, like, I wish I could have 10 of me and go out and speak to people all the time. Well, that's what social media does. You may not think it is because you just post it and all you hear is crickets, but you would be surprised how many people actually see your content all the time. They may not comment, they may not like it, but they're still seeing it, and they're still, you're staying top of mind to them. So I kind of got off track there, but whatever platform you're comfortable with, pick it, become the expert at it. And then from there, when it's pretty much like second nature, then add another one and then add another one, so that everything is looking good, and just keep the brand consistency with it. If you've got a picture of yourself on Instagram and it's different from your Facebook, it's not going to work. If you're portraying yourself as a realtor, make sure you have that same picture all the time on all those platforms. So if they find you on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, they know you're the same person.
Yeah. So you brought up a number of great things. I love the cloning quote that you had, what you just mentioned. I talk a lot about, making real estate connections every day, trying to, right? And, as an agent, you have to figure out how you can, have real estate related conversations. And your kind of quote about when you post on social media, it's kind of like your clone hit me, right? Because it's kind of this person that's having these conversations and talking to people. Even though you did it once, they're talking to several people at the same time, and, I always encourage agents, when we talk about kind of picking a platform or figuring out what's going to be best for your businesses, taking a step back and figuring out what resonates with them. I know sometimes people are drawn to Facebook, right? And if people love Facebook and you're on Facebook all the time, maybe that is the platform for you. If, like you said, your city and your town kind of gravitate towards it. For other people, it's going to be Instagram. For others, it's going to be YouTube. The things you mentioned about YouTube, I think, are so powerful. Me personally, just in my little sphere, I'm seeing more and more people gravitate towards YouTube. I'm seeing myself gravitate towards YouTube, right? When there's a dead spot in the evening, obviously there's Netflix and all that fun stuff, but occasionally now I'll see myself where it's like, oh, there's this YouTube person that is talking about, business books or whatever. And so I think taking a step back and kind of doing an interrogation of, you as the individual, what do you like? What are you drawn to? And then kind of, building upon that, I think sometimes helps new agents. What are they drawn to? But I love kind of both the points you put there with the cloning and YouTube, and kind of picking a platform that they kind of most resonate with. I think that's
For
fantastic.
sure. And if they are going to do it, the thing I do highly recommend again is make sure when you are posting something, think to yourself, what is in it for my audience when I post this? So you need to be putting things of good value and good information to them, especially on things like YouTube. Don't just be posting video tours all the time or open houses. People want good, valuable for information. So us as salespeople, we always automatically think, well, I got to showcase my property and I got to show it off. Whereas I always kind of educate my customers, letting them know, hey, I'm going to do more stuff on social media about my community versus your home, which in return is going to get people contacting me. And then from there, I mean, if they're in the price range that we are, then I could show them your house and could potentially sell it to them, depending on what jurisdiction you're in, obviously, because there's some places where you can't sell what you have listed. Here, we're allowed to, but just painting that picture for them, because if you just post nothing about your community and all you post is about here's a house for sale, here's an open house, that's going to turn people off. They want information. And again, going back to YouTube, I would be putting stuff like, reasons for moving to whatever your city name or is,
Yeah.
or top 10 things to do within your city, best parks of your city, because people are searching for that stuff, especially when they're moving to a new community. Guess what they're searching for? They want to search what the schools are like, what they can do there, what neighborhood they want to live in. They're not specifically typing out the address of the house that you have listed for sale to try to find it. They're trying to find out about your community. If you can be the one that's first to get to them and they find you, could be 1 o'clock in the morning, you're going to be top of mind to them when they are ready to pick a realtor.
Yeah. And your kind of idea of value, I think, is so big, right? And you're right about listings and open houses. Yes, that provides some reminders in the moment to people that you're in real estate, but it's not evergreen, right? If you do a YouTube video about a listing, especially with the way the market is across a lot of, at least America, I don't know how it is in Canada, listings are going so quick here. That
Mm-hmm.
listing video, that property might be under contract in 3 days, and so
Right.
yes, it might live on YouTube for forever and someone might see it, but they're not going to be able to buy that house anymore. Whereas if you do something about the community, you do something about local restaurants, local coffee shops, cafes, it's kind of evergreen. Most likely, unless something terrible happens to that cafe, that's still going to live and be relevant a year from now and 2 years from now. And I really like that kind of coming from value and kind of taking a step back and what does your audience want to see, right? And again, that might change via different mediums, right? YouTube videos versus a post on Instagram versus a story, right? A story on Instagram might be a quick, hey, doing an open house type thing.
Yeah.
So
And that's what I see with like posts are more about what's in it for the consumer. This is the way I look at it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. And then I always think of stories as like behind the scenes. So this is just what I'm doing throughout my day. And for a lot of you, I know you always get hung up on, and I used to do it too, so I don't blame you. You used to think, hey, I'm not interesting. I don't lead an interesting life. Why would people want to see what I'm doing? But the sooner you can get over that, the quicker you'll win, because it is amazing just showing who you are. People buy from people. So they want to
yeah,
know who the person is, and if they can make a connection with them, darn right, they're going to choose you. If they find you online and they go, yeah, you know what, I don't really have a connection with this person, that's fine too, because that probably weeded out somebody that maybe you weren't going to have a good relationship with anyway, and you're going to have some kind of bumps in the road with that transaction. I now find those leads that come through to me organically through social media are the best I've ever had. I mean, it's just when they come to you and they start having a conversation with you, being like, hey, I saw you traveled here. We went here this year. Where did you go to eat? And they start having those conversations. It's like, I mean, how easy was that? All it took was some posting on social media, and they found me through social media. And now it's almost like we're immediate friends.
yeah. There's something weird, and not even weird, but it's maybe easily explained, right? With social media, when we see someone else's face and we can see their eyes, your brain starts to recognize that person, right? They, like you said, they know you better than you know them. It's because they see you, they hear your voice, they feel like there's a friendship and a kinship there, even if you've never talked to them, right? And so it makes, people always want warm leads. Well, what a better way than kind of building that relationship through social media. And you can do it on this kind of big, huge mass scale without, one-on-one conversations. And I think that's so powerful.
Absolutely. It's you think years ago where the amount of money a realtor would have to spend to buy newspaper ads, TV ads to get their face out there. And now this stuff is free. It just takes your time. So sometimes it boggles my mind why more aren't doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to touch on, so are there specific things you do personally every single day, like routines that have helped you or habits? You're big obviously on social media. So is that a point that you make every single day? Hey, I'm going to try and post about what I'm doing, what I'm working on?
For sure. Yeah, I did that. Sometimes, you miss some things. So that's why we got into building a calendar this year to make sure it's done without fail all the time. The other thing I highly recommend is getting a good CRM. Definitely well worth the investment. I used to be one of those is like, hey, I can do this without a CRM. I'm busy. Why should I spend that monthly payment? I'm just giving away my money. And there was the one year, my busiest year, I never forget. I was 31st in all of Canada for sales for my franchise. And while it was a good year, I remember going to bed every night that year and laying awake and going, I forgot to do this. I forgot to contact that person. And it was just a terrible feeling. Now that I have my CRM in place, it's just, I go home at night to my family and I don't worry about a thing because I know everything was taken care of. It reminded me to do what I needed to do. And I followed that system so that there again is the consistency. If you watch any of my YouTube videos, that's my number one. My biggest thing is consistency. Those that are consistent will win. And if you can be consistent with your customers, that they know they're going to hear from you a certain day of the week, that everything's going to be sent off to the mortgage person, the home inspection is going to be booked, whatever it may be. And then on top of that, that you have a reminder there to do social media. It's just all the consistency, and it's then falling into place where if you don't have that, it's just, unfortunately to me, that's where things fall apart, and a CRM takes care of that.
Systems provide peace of mind, right? And that's a huge thing. I mean, it's one of those things you don't know you need it until you need it, right? You maybe didn't need it until you were too busy and you started dropping the ball, right? When you're first starting out, there's not a ton of appointments. There's not a ton of to-dos. There's a couple things you have to get done every single day. And then you're out there trying to build your business, right? When then you start to build that up and you start to get busier. And if those balls get dropped, and you leave kind of a lackluster experience, you might be leaving future dollars on the table. So set those systems up. I really like your advice of using a CRM and, kind of keeping those things intact and in line. So that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
So last question, I mean, is there anything in kind of your big career that you made a mistake on that you wish you had done? Like, I've talked to people in the past and they say, I wish I would have followed up with my database or my sphere of influence sooner. I wish I would have done more social media posts sooner. Is there anything about like along those lines that you can kind of give advice to new agents so they don't make that same mistake?
My biggest thing would be if you're thinking of anything, just start. There's a lot of times where I had great ideas and I just thought and I thought and I thought and I overthought it. And eventually I never did it. And I learned as the years went on, if I have anything, just do it. And eventually from there, you figure out how to make it better and grow. Whereas if you don't even start, it's just not even going to happen. For the longest time, I mean, still to this day, I was the shyest person you would ever meet. And I got into real estate. Everybody thought I was crazy when I got into real estate. They're like, oh, it's going to eat him alive. And then for me to get in front of a video camera like I am today, I mean, now I do it every single day, so it doesn't bother me. But the first time I did it, I was sweating, I was shaking, and it just did not go over well. But I knew I needed to do it. So I just kept doing it and doing it. It's just like anything. We don't start off good at this stuff. You got to practice and keep practicing, and practice makes perfect. So that would be my biggest advice is if you have any of those ideas, just go for it, do it. What's the worst that could happen? I mean, you've invested a ton of time in social media. I truly believe it'll work for you, but say it doesn't. Well, you lost a bit of time. Big deal. You learned something. You learned, okay, this worked, that didn't work, versus just sitting there and not even trying at all. So whatever you're thinking of, do it. And for mine, that would have been, I think, like everybody, is obviously social media. You look back at a lot of it and you think, man, if I had got onto Instagram when it first came out, and because the algorithm was so much more loose back then. Imagine
Yeah.
the amount of followers I'd have today, or the engagement I have, because I started from scratch.
Yep.
Same thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and I did it too, a new platform will come out and we'll be like, yeah, we'll just kind of see how it goes. And I don't want to learn another platform because there's already too many. It's the way of the world. It's always going to keep changing. Technology keeps changing quicker every day. So there's going to be a lot more apps and social media platforms that come and go, but you just got to learn to adapt and pivot.
Take action. I think that's fantastic advice. And, sometimes people struggle with, they say, I really want to do this thing, but then they also struggle with the fact that they feel like no one's going to see it. And to me, those are both advantages, right? You can start something and have 0 viewers or 5 viewers to begin with as you start to kind of build those reps and get better at it. And as you get better at it, your following grows and you get better at it. And you're right. You just have to take action. You have to just post it. You have to send it. And you can't worry about, the family that might, text you about it, or old high school friends. I know those things like we all struggle with, and you just have to kind of get over it and start doing it. And the success will come if you're consistent with it. I love that you talk about consistency, because I think it's so important. It's just consistency. What can you do each and every day to kind of build your business? And pick something, start doing it, and be consistent with it. It'll go a long ways.
Absolutely. Yes.
Fantastic. Shawn, what can we promote? I know you talked about your Facebook ads class. Anything else you want people to go follow or go check out? And I'll make sure to put a links to your Facebook ads. Is it a course, or is it a service you guys actually provide?
Yeah, I do run a course teaching realtors how to run their own Facebook ads. So they're not at the mercy of another lead generation company. I mean, I found with lead generation companies, you're spending money every month and they're sending you leads, which is cool. But if you stop paying them, those leads dry up, and from there you've got nothing. So rather than that, I like to teach people how to do it themselves, so that going forward, they've got the strategy the whole way through. They know exactly what they need to do. Could be 5 years from now. Now, it's not for everybody, and that's fine. So aside from that, some of the free content that I would strongly encourage you to check out that I do for other real estate agents is my Instagram. That's at C21 Shawn Bell. And then my YouTube page, which is youtube.com/Shawn Bell. So check those two out, because that's the two that I focus on for giving you guys as realtors value, and showing you what I do in my business, any new technology coming out, tips I have through social media, so that you can do the same and win. Because I really enjoy teaching others and letting them know what can be done. I found when I was coming into this, I felt a void there, because it seems like within my community and a lot of other communities, no other realtors want to talk to each other, because they think, I'm going to give up my secret. They're going to steal customers from me. And I'm just like, okay, well, that's kind of I guess that's their thought. But to me, it's kind of an old school thought, is if we can all collaborate, we can share ideas together, then we'll all win. And to me, that's a lot better. So yeah, check out the Instagram and YouTube page, and hopefully you can find some value there.
Fantastic. For those listening, I'll put both those links in the YouTube description and in the podcast description, so you can click over and check out what Shawn's going on. I've been following him for a little bit now, and he provides a ton of value, a lot of great insight. So thanks for doing what you do, Shawn, and giving so much back to the community. I know I've learned a ton from you. And thank you for doing this interview. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff, for having me. I really do appreciate it.
Talk to you soon.
Take care.